Gear Challenge has received a subscription of the magazine published by National Geographic entitled National Geographic for quite some time. There have been a few changes, a few slight changes over the years, mostly with regards to format of the cover and format of the content, or the way that is presented in the magazine. One of the things that I've noticed is some slight changes in the cover, and in this case we will see a slight change in that, but more importantly, I've also noticed over the years that the magazine is delivered in a clear plastic bag, very similar to this clear plastic bag that this knife foil was shipped in, for obvious reasons, to protect in case of a leak of the bottle or what have you. But this clear plastic is not super heavy duty, but it's water resistant and protects the content, the paper content of the magazine. Also similar to this t-shirt packaging, again, thin plastic material that is designed to keep the contents clean and protected and in pristine condition. We all like to have our magazines arrive in pristine condition. Now, the initial changes here more recently is as of February 2018, and of course we're currently in mid-May 2018, but we'll notice that the month and year is here at the bottom, along with the typical magazine presentation on the cover, so it generates some interest. March of 2018, once again, we're still at the bottom, and typical general information about contents of the magazine. Now for May of 2018, I've noticed a slight difference in that the month and year is at the top and in the format of 05.2018. A little more applicable for, well, although magazines are typically printed in certain regions for particular regions or countries, and of course languages, that may be a more global presentation of the magazine format itself. Most importantly is going away from, in my opinion again, most importantly in my personal opinion, is going away from the plastic packaging content to a paper content, or a paper packaging for the content. In this case, they've even presented a nice question, is, will this paper wrap save the planet? Well, obviously it won't necessarily save the planet in and of its own, but it's a nice start. So we go on with, again, the exterior of this most recent delivery of National Geographic, and it says no, but it's a start. By replacing the plastic cover with a paper one, we're taking a small step to help reduce the big problem of single-use plastic pollution in the ocean. Goes on to say, join us, take the pledge, and choose your own small step. Now at Gear Challenge we have taken our own, albeit very minuscule steps to help reduce our own environmental impact when we go places and when we go into the wild. The old concept of leave nothing behind except perhaps some very small footsteps is integral to our approach when we do go into the wild, wherever it may be. This goes on to say, and we give them a little plug here, plastic or planet or plastic. For inspiration, go to natgeo.com/planet or plastic. So I would encourage any and everyone to take a look at that. Obviously, have your own takeaway from whatever you may read there, or whatever content may be at that site. But again, we'd like to pass that along. One of the questions I have for, it's a bit of a rhetorical question, is, this being a big problem of single-use plastic pollution in the ocean, quite frankly, I think most of the packaging that is removed after shipment of products probably goes into landfill of some type, and preferably, much like we do at Gear Challenge, it goes into a recyclable part of the process of trash and waste being sent out from our homes and offices and businesses. So it is a little bit of a, pollution in the ocean. I doubt that very many folks that receive National Geographic throw their shipping wrapper for the magazine onto the beach or into a river or a stream. But all that said, this is a good approach for trying to reduce that extreme amount of garbage and waste that is going into our oceans and into our waterways. So with that, let's take a peek at this month's edition, or this most recent edition. The paper, by the way, is the paper wrapper that they refer to is definitely paper. It is of a shiny, glossy, I think is what it's referred to as, paper similar to what you would find on the cover of a magazine or on the pages of a magazine. And initially, quite frankly, when this arrived, I thought that it was a plastic cover as well because of the consistency. But it does feel very much just like what you would have with the thickness of a magazine page. So that's good. Large kudos. Thank you very much, National Geographic. We have, our typical subscription information, reply by mail. Kids, I think that's a very good thing for children to start reading, not only to read, but also to learn about the planet, animals, nature, etc. So again, large kudos to the editorial or management staff of National Geographic. Properly enough, looks like for this edition for June, this is the 06.2018 edition of National Geographic for the United States. And question, there's not a lot of the typical content on the cover. It's just strictly planet or plastic. Good topic for discussion. And talking about 18 billion pounds of plastic ends up in the ocean each year, and that's just the tip of the iceberg, and we have an iceberg image here. So very appropriate content, very appropriate subject matter, I think, for our time. We all should make our contribution, or maybe perhaps lack of contribution, to the waste that goes into our environment. So with that said, I'd just like to again pass on my compliments to National Geographic. There have been a few things that I may have disagreed with them in the past,